Talking about tires today. So, this is the rim is the Whiskey 30, 30D. It is a tubeless ready carbon rim, but more importantly, mounted to it is the Hutchinson Override 35 with I think it's the Verde tread. But regardless, so Hutchinson Override. So you can kind of see what the tread pattern looks like here. Big, flat, centrifugal section in the middle with kind of a file tread on both shoulders. I have been riding this boy here since when? Since maybe January? January, February? Right before,
just before Barry.
Yeah, just before Barry-Roubaix. So I did Barry-Roubaix on this set of tires, front and rear. I think I ran like 42 pounds in the front and 44 in the rear, and I think maybe right there I weighed 190 pounds. Ran them tubeless, and the way that these are set up is on all of my tubeless tires I always run an extra layer of tape just for an extra layer of security and a little bit of extra depth in the rim bed. But, so talking about the tires, so first off, I absolutely adore this tire. There's a reason that I've kept riding it, and this tire probably has close to 2,000 miles on it now, with like 1,700 of them being on the road. First off, I'm now a full convert to road tubeless first. Second, extra volume tires as well. Now I really don't want to own anything smaller than a 28, just because they ride so good. And you really, on a 28, you don't, as a bigger guy, I don't notice any rolling resistance difference from a 25 to a 28. And the 28's actually, because they ride smoother, they actually feel like they roll better. But back to this guy. So, pros about this tire: it mounted up super easy tubeless. I actually don't use a compressor to mount my tubeless tires. I mounted both of these with a floor pump and then topped them off with just my digital inflator. So really, really easy to set up. For being a non-skid wall, they're super compliant, and I think a lot of that has to do with being a 35 tire. And the rim is a little bit wider bed as well, so it gives it a nice flat arc across the actual contact patch. The one thing about this that I noticed at Barry-Roubaix is these do not do that well braking in a straight line. And where I think they struggle is that, again, if you look at the center of this contact patch, it's a kind of a big flat rectangular circumferential groove around or block around the entire tire. And when you're trying to stop on gravel, you kind of need some open area to push some of that gravel out of the way to help the bike stop. And there were a couple sections on downhill, little choppier descents where the front tire just didn't feel like it had as much grip as it really needed to have. But on the whole, the rolling resistance is amazing because it basically acts like a road tire until you start to lean it over. So I did not have any punctures, no issues whatsoever, did not lose a single PSI at Barry-Roubaix either. So from that perspective, it's performed flawlessly with stand sealant. And really, like, the only reason that I'm not going to ride this for the Rondi is I'm really going with a similar tire, but just a wider casing. So I'm going to run a 40C Kenda Flint Ridge, which is honestly a very similar tire to this. So it has a big center groove in the middle. It actually has a little bit more opening in the middle, so it should alleviate some of that braking issues. And that also on this, it shows its head on some of the rainier rides that Doug and I have done together. If you look at kind of how this contacts the road, and then you see that big arc, and if you think about trying to push water out of the way while you're stopping, there's not really, it just turns into a big hydroplane. So this isn't the best tire on the wet surfaces, but for my money, for being tubeless, for being able to be set up so easy, for the great rolling resistance, the fact that it's super puncture resistant, and Like, I've beaten the absolute crap out of it, and it still has a ton of life left in it. This thing has been an amazing tire for me, and one that if you're just looking for some sort of tire to kind of dip your toe in the water with riding gravel and riding adventure rides and exploring a little bit further, I can't recommend it enough. Even beyond all that, like, start challenging yourself to your norms of what the right tire size is for you, because I've always been in the camp of, until maybe the last year, of like 23, 25, like, I need that rolling resistance and I need as many watts as I can and need to be as efficient as possible, but man, that's not the case. Like, 28 rolls really, really nice, and it rolls really, really fast, and once you get up to something this size and you're getting into like 55 pounds of air, it rides so nice. And I've got Doug converted over to it and running wider volume tires, and a couple other people that I ride with, I've gotten them running on wider volume tires, and they're just, the response is always the same. It's like, man, it's like right on a cloud. So can't recommend it enough, just for all of your different riding. So that's my take on the Hutchinson Override tire. Again, it's 35C, tubeless ready, with the Verde tread from Hutchinson. I would give it 2 thumbs up. I don't even know what that means, but 2 thumbs up for me. After the Rondi, I'm going to mount these back up and continue beating the crap out of them. So that's it for me, and I guess next week I'll probably talk about something else, getting ready for the Rondi before the last ditch effort before Doug and I go and do Big Adventure Day. So that's it for me, and I will talk to you guys next week. Peace.